So this gentleman has been here a couple of times before, but we've never really focused on his book. So we thought, why not today? We are talking about Sprout, a book by Benihin Walubengo. Benihin, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I really
No,
appreciate
Ujava Suti Leo.
Today I decided to wear merchandise.
Okay.
Sprout. We have these hoodies, t-shirts, handbands. So just decided to Sprout today because it's a holiday.
The journey of a dreamer.
Exactly.
And I think it's fantastic.
Yes.
Because that is what we're talking about today.
Exactly.
So for anyone who's just tuned in for the first time and they are wondering, why am I so hype about this young man? Benihin, kindly introduce yourself. This is your camera.
So my name is Benihin Walubengo. I'm a public speaker, I'm an author, and I'm also the president and founder of the Voices of Benny Foundation. I'm a student at Daystar. I study international relations and political science. Yeah, and I'm a child of God.
I feel like there's so many things he hasn't said. Like, I'm just looking at the back of this book. I'm just like, how Jasema, PLO Lumumba Foundation, Sun Network, umesema?
Well, I'm the brand ambassador of the PLO Lumumba Foundation and Plan International, Sun Network, advocating for the rights of women. And currently I was also elected last week as the president of DC3, Daystar Compassion and Care Center. So it deals with mental issues and just mentoring each other in the university level.
Great,
yes.
Great.
So right now we can say I'm also a campus student leader.
Hey, I like it. I
Yes.
like it a lot.
Yeah.
And today we are focusing on Sprout.
Yes.
This is your first book?
Yes, that's my first book.
So the second bit of this is already out.
Yes.
But we tuanzie mahali.
Yes.
Because we've never really talked about it.
Yes.
So let's talk about Sprout.
Uh-huh.
Because even from the picture here, you look really young. When was this?
This was this year.
This was this year?
This year in June.
Oh, yes, when I first met you
exactly.
here.
Yes, that was this year in June.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's when I wrote this book. I just cleared high school in March. Then I sat down in around that period and I just began writing. Yeah.
So I just finished high school and just began writing. I became a publisher. I'm an author. Just what?
Yeah.
Tell us a bit about this. Where did the inspiration come from? Because even the name feels well thought out.
Okay. So I remember when I was in high school, I was in a public school at first. So like there are these letters for funkies that people used to write. Poetries, nini. So I used to be good at them. I used to write letters. So wasa walikuwa wakuja niambia mazuri nakuwa na kizungu na poetry. Andika hii letter nipeleke manzi yangu. So like on one weekend I would have like 30 letters to write for people.
Would they pay you?
Yes, they would pay me. It was 35 shillings.
Per letter?
Yes,
35. Hata hawezi fikisha 50.
Ilikuwa 35 because now I was looking at the demand. Also the demand was high and I wanted to grab the market. So yeah, and I would also be given sticky notes for free. So I would write. So even during lessons, the lessons that I was not very good at, like let's say chemistry, I will just write letters. So there's a day I sent a letter to a certain school here in Kenya. It was a girls' school, and the principal got the girl reading the letter. So the principal read it, and then she was like, "Hey, who is this person? We shall go to this school."
What?
So we're on parade on Monday. I see a principal coming with a student, say, "Who wrote this letter?" So I knew I'm being anaenda kufukuzwa mimi.
Huyo msichana unamjua ama ulikuwa umeandikia mtu mwingine?
Nilikuwa namjua.
This particular letter ilikuwa yako personal.
Yes,
okay,
it was personal.
Great.
So the principal came and said, I read your letter. I'm a teacher of English and literature and you're good at writing. So stop wasting your time writing letters. Think of writing a book. So that slapped her. So she said, I just came here to tell you that. You're really gifted. So just sit down and start writing a book. So most of the time I would sit in class and you know that story of mine of being suspended in high school.
Yes.
So during those suspension periods when I go home I will just sit down and write. So because now sina kitu ingine ya kudu and you know now my mom and dad are mad at me so I can't sit in the sitting room. So if I sit in my room I just have like to think and write, you know.
Yes.
So I started by writing poetry. I could write them and put them somewhere. Then one day I just read a book by Miles Monroe. I was in Form 3. And that day, I remember guys were going for a function. Na jinangu ilitolewa kwa list last minute. So, there's a book I'd been given and I had never read it. So, I read it for the first time. So, after reading that book, the thoughts now started coming in. So, I could write the quotes by Miles Monroe in a notebook somewhere. Then, when I write his quote, I also add mine. So I was like, hey, kumbe this thing hadi mimi nakuanga na quotes. So I said, because I was a deputy captain at that time, I said I'll give one of my quotes just to see how guys will react. Will people clap? How will they act?
Yes.
So I did that, and guys were like, "Hey, maze umse amewaza."
Do you remember it?
Yes, I remember. I said that when you look at the sky is invisible, but the stars are so visible. That's how much your dreams are. They might be invisible, but they're also visible depending on where you stand and see. So guys were like, hey, umse amemedi. So when I went to class, guys were like, hey, hebu niandikie kitu ulisema. So I realized, so I can write quotes. So now I began writing my own quotes. Then I would attach stories in my speech. Like in every speech, I would always put a story. I would always put like a 30-second story. I will tell guys, you know what, Rudolph Wilma said that I don't stop when I'm tired, I stop when I'm done. Then I give a story about how she ran and all that. And I'm seeing emotions are sweeping around. So I was like, hey, kumbe kitu mi naeza. So now I now began writing stories and quotes.
Okay.
Then one day I just sat down and I thought, is my life worth writing about? Because I'm writing stories of other people. What can I find in my life that is worth writing about?
Okay.
So I remembered about great debaters. There's a day I climbed on stage and I had lost the script. I just started speaking. So I spoke. So I said, maybe this story is worth writing. So that's the first story I wrote about great debaters. Climbing on stage, there's no preparation. The team feels like we can't do it. Then I just stood up on stage, began speaking, and my team is like, we can do this. Yeah. Then that's how we won Eastern Region against Meru School, the champion of the region. So that's how I began writing stories now.
And then this came after you finished school.
Yes.
Did you have the little bits and pieces from what you wrote in high school, or did you start afresh now with this after school? And what is it about in here? What are we going to find in here?
So now, what I did, I think the perfect gift of writing, because I've also studied other authors like Chimamanda and many other authors, especially young authors in Africa and also in the world. Thoughts always come in. Like right now that I'm seated with you, this is a book. Every day we live in a book. Every day it's a page. So like this is a book because when I was 16, there's a day I watched this show. That time it was Full Circle with Joyce. There's a time I've watched you now as Mwikali while I was in Form 4. And I said one day I'll be here. And so right now I'm seated here. So the next book that I'm writing, it's a powerful book. It's called The 6 Questions the World Will Ask You. Like, what do you want? Then you'll tell the world what you want and you'll get it. So I'll write a show about Mwikali. One day I wanted and I answered the world and I told it, one day I'll be here. And I wrote and then I was here. Yes. So every day it's a page. So thoughts are always packaged. So you keep them. There's a place in a human being. You see where we keep bitterness, where we keep the memories. That is a place of thoughts. That's a place where thoughts need to flow. Okay. There's a place in the mind where you grasp, information is kept. There's a place in the mind where the things that you'll do tomorrow are kept. Then there's a place where memories are kept there. That's where bitterness is. That's where happiness is. There's always that part of the mind. So when the thoughts come, I always push them there. And I just put them there. There's an idea that I'll get. Then now one day I'll sit down, put some good music, take a laptop and just type them. Okay. So like I'll type them and then just leave it there. Like I don't always purpose to finish the book like today. When you do that, you'll be in a hurry and you won't give your thoughts the right flow. Okay. So you just write, leave it there. Just write, leave it there. Then when you see like it has, the quantity now is okay, you can now talk with the publisher and tell the publisher, you know what, do this. So like right now I'm also publishing for people. I have a publishing company. Voices of Benny does publishing. We also do the public speaking training and stuff.
Wow.
Yes.
So is that your process?
Yes. So you just sit down, get thoughts, and then when you get a thought, you think deeper about it, research about it. For example, maybe about leadership. When you get an idea about leadership that you can write about, I'll go and listen to John C. Maxwell. What does he say about leadership? I'll come here in Kenya, read newspapers. What is the leadership situation here in Kenya? Yeah. I'll go and watch some series about leadership. Then I'll now sit down personally so that I don't lose my thought out of all these other facts and statistics. I just go now and sit down and say, what is the original thought that I have? Now, added to what these people thought. Yeah. Are they right? Are they wrong? And what do I have to say about their thoughts, but according to my writing? So then I'll now create time. Then now there's that aspect of creating time.
Yes.
You'll now have to create time. Like this month, I'll be celebrating my birthday on Sunday. Okay. After Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday are my 3 days to write.
Is that true? Am I to sit hypothetical situation.
It's
but
true.
It's your birthday.
It's
okay,
my birthday.
Great.
I'm turning 20. Yeah.
Happy birthday in advance.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
So like I've put those 3 days. I'll be alone, just writing. So you create an environment for writing. Your room needs to be neat. You can't write in a dirty environment. So your room needs to be neat. You need to be psychologically prepared. You should not be sleepy. You should not be tired. You should have eaten, have fruits around, have some juice, then have some music. Music helps you, like, it helps you compose your thoughts. It helps you just flow and flow and flow. So like, yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, if I tried that, I'd end up just cranking up the music.
And then there are guys now, there are guys who are gifted, who are not gifted in writing, but they have the thoughts.
Yes.
So what you do now, you look for someone who is good now at writing.
And share my thoughts with you.
You share your thoughts, or you can do podcast and give them the podcast.
Okay.
So it's also easier that way. But there are people who are extremely...
So I just record my thoughts.
Exactly.
And then send them to you.
Yes.
Then you turn them into a book.
Exactly. Now we turn them into writing. My publisher keeps on saying that a book is a thought that is so scattered, and therefore our work is to put it in pages and make it neat. So that's just that simple. You just sit down and then there are people who are good at writing, but they don't know how to compile their story.
That is so true.
So you just tell someone, you just write it the way it is, bring it to me, then we shall sit down with you now and look at what are we looking at in your story. Then we put it in those phases.
Would you say for you to be a writer, you need to be an avid reader?
Yeah. You have to, especially now it depends with what you are writing about. But for me, I would advise people to just read anything.
Okay.
Because you'll read about leadership, but you see in leadership you can speak about leadership in so many different ways. You can use science to explain leadership. You can use technology. You can use religion. You can use food to explain about leadership. For example, if you put rice, when you start cooking rice, of course you'll put some water and all that. Then after that you don't see the water, you only see the rice.
Yes.
So that's preparation. That's packaging yourself in leadership. So you can use food to explain leadership.
What happened? What happened?
You'll have to boil, you'll put some rice.
Yes.
Then you'll have to boil it for some time.
Yes.
Then when it boils for some time, now the rice will come on the table. But you won't eat the rice alone. You'll have to look for some stew and all that. So that's leadership. When you are in leadership, you'll have to package yourself. That's now the water, that's the rice. Then you'll have to undergo the boiling, that's preparation. Then after that, it will come on the table, you'll take it with stew, that's a team. You'll have to compile something with a team for it now to be presentable. So you can use food to explain leadership.
Benihin Walubengo, guys. We're going to take a very short commercial break. Eventually, we'll talk about what is in this book at some point today. But don't go too far. Send all the questions that you may have when it comes to matters, writing your own book, getting a proper publisher, what to look out for, 111 444 111. That is our SMS line. We'll be right back after this break. Welcome back to Full Circle with Mikali. How are you doing? 111 444 111. That is our SMS line. Send in your questions. We're talking matters, books on Book Circle today. We have the book Sprout, The Journey of a Dreamer. This is a book by Benihin Walubengo. Namekuja amevaa merchandise, my friends. Suti leo hakuna. So at the back of this book, it says, this book opens up to a world of a 19-year-old boy with a dream to rise above limits that have been in the environment of learning, making use every chance he has in life to chase a dream he has believed in. He describes his life lessons that he has learned as a young person through biblical examples, his own life story, and the stories of other people he admires and looks up to. So it's full of experiences, yours and others.
Yes.
And your interactions with them.
Exactly. I just sat down and I thought, they have told you, like, every day is a page.
Yeah.
So in every experience, there's always something to learn. There's a day when I was in Form 3. It was a business exam. And so a friend of mine came and told me, leo nani ndiye anaingia na textbook. You know, we used to cheat in business. Juu ukipita business, when you get 90, you used to be given 1,000. So that 1,000 kila mtu alikuwa adai. Okay. So I told him, leo mimi ndo naingia nayo, because the other exams ni alikuwa ameingia nayo. So now I went in the exam room and sat on my textbook. Then shetani tu akadanganya msee, akachukua hiyo kiti invigilator akaleta kando yangu. So invigilator akakuja akakaa kando yangu. So there's no way I could stand up and just take the textbook or do anything. So I had to sit down and just use my own brain. So I did that exam. I realized actually it was easy. Now the hardest part after the exam, the invigilator told me, now stand up and collect the papers of others. And now I'm sitting on a textbook. So so I'm refusing. Mwambia hapana. Mi sijamaliza. Then she took my paper and said, but you've answered all the questions. And I told her I'm proofreading. So she told me, okay, I've given you 2 minutes. So I'm there trying to proofread. Anyway, I just decided to stand up. So when I stood up, I collected the papers, then gave out, and I went outside.
So where's the book?
So I came back now, I never found the book. So I knew, she has taken. And she was the teacher on duty that day. So the whole evening, I'm just trying to escape. And kiona nakuja hivi namhepa. Then she called me in the evening and told me something that up to today I remember. She said, your business papers have been marked and you've had a 92. You're the worst enemy of yourself. Don't be sorry to me, be sorry to yourself. Then she told me you can go. She never reported me of anything.
That is painful.
So I went and sat in class and I was like, So that was an experience that taught me a lot. And now it has taught me even leadership lessons. That some days I will wake up in the morning and I fear something. I fear doing something. And I'm like, why should I call someone and ask for help? Or should I just borrow money from somewhere and do this? Like there's a project we are doing right now, building Vision 2029. I want to build a school. It will cost us almost 200 million.
So why do you keep throwing these things my way like randomly like that? You want to build a school?
Yes, a school for public speaking and leadership purely.
Okay.
Yeah, so like it's a huge project, and I know you're not, as a young person, that money is too big.
How much money are we talking?
Almost 200 M.
Okay.
And so I was just sitting down and I asked myself, how will I get this money? And God told me, you know what, give 200 speeches before 200 millionaires. Each will give you 1 M, and you'll just build that school. So God gave me a concept, basically. And so like the things from that experience I learned, it's a book on its own self. So a book is not something really complicated. A book is the daily experiences that we live in. Is there a day you went for an interview and you are not prepared, you're not qualified, and you got a job? That's a book. You need to write it and give it to someone. There's someone who wants that story. Is there a day you came here and sat on this couch and your day has not gone well, but you finished the interview and you smiled all through? That's a book.
Yeah.
There's a girl who will be a journalist. There's a boy who will be a journalist one day. They need to read that. It's a powerful book. They just need to read that statement. That there are days you'll wake up in the morning, you feel like you don't have to go in the show, but you have to do it. And someone said that if it has to be done, then it's up to me.
Yeah.
So basically, it's a daily experience that we live in. Therefore, this book is just experiences. You look at the life of David, it has experiences.
Yes.
It has faces.
Yeah.
You look at Daniel, it has faces. You look at Mandela, it has faces.
Yep.
You look at the people who we live in. Churchill, he has faces. You know, starting stand-up comedy, it's something that has never been done in Kenya, and right now it's a big industry.
Yes.
It's a story. I'm writing about him. I just went and sat down, watched all his YouTube clips, and sat down to write about this guy, the lessons we learned from this guy. It's called Faces and Races.
Wow.
So like you just sit down and look, analyze. Then you look at Churchill, look at also now your life as a young person. We as young people pass through a lot that people don't know. And there's a book I'm writing right now on relationships. These two small relationships that we go.
At you what?
Yes.
Why are you calling them two small relationships?
See, because sometimes you're not sure how it will end up.
Well, it is. I think it's on all levels. It's not just
character development, and all that. So like I'm writing the book is called The School of Relationships.
Okay.
Because there is a school that you go through, and that one is a school on its own level.
That's true.
So it's a book for young people in primary school, in high schools. It's a book that they can read and really connect with. Yeah.
You know, even the seasons that we live in, they have faces. It's not winter all long. It can be summer, it can be good, it can be bad, it can be ugly. It's just being able to realize what season you're in your life and picking out the lessons that you can from that. But you can't do that if you're not aware that you are in that season and appreciate it, as ugly as it may be. So you talk about the reality of seasons in this book, and I think that just took us there. And you talk about David in here. You talk about a lot of David in here. Is it someone that you really draw from when it comes to the Bible?
Yes, I love David. One, because he was a king who was a shepherd. You know, there's that aspect of leadership of being very powerful but very humble.
Okay.
So I really admire that in him. So I was just analyzing his journey. Like this guy had 3 seasons.
Okay.
The first season was called the season of preparation. There's a season of elevation, and there's a season of manifestation, elevation. So those three. The first one was preparation, there's manifestation, then there's elevation. So like the season of preparation,
Goliath ako wapi kwa hii story?
Goliath ako pale hivyo kwa manifestation.
Okay.
Yeah, kwa sasa hapo hivyo wa mwisho.
Okay.
So the first level ya preparation, it was a very silent stage. It's a stage where now you're building. Now that stage, servant ndiye alimention David kwa palace.
Yes.
Akasema by the way kuna boy anajua kucheza hapa. Meaning in this season of preparation, what you need to do is to build relationships.
Yes.
David had a network in the palace. Si lazima aende palace ndio atajwe. Alikuwa na network kwa palace.
Okay, I
so
see.
Na ukisoma hiyo script inasema servants. So si mmoja alimention. So alikuwa na favored na king. So this is a stage now where you need the four people. You need a destiny connector. You need there's a stage where you need a destiny connector, someone who can mention you in a place. There's a stage where you need a burden bearer, someone who can just walk with you. There's a stage where you just need men of influence, someone who can endorse you. Then there's a stage where you need brilliant people around you, people who can get things done.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So that's a season of preparation. You look for those people. So that's a place where you just need to focus on your thing. Then there are four things they said about David.
Yeah.
They said he's handsome. They said he's intelligent. They said the Lord is with him and he's perfect at his thing. Therefore, this is a place of building your thing. And you just focus on building your thing. You just build your art. Just close your eyes and say, you know what? I don't want podiums. I don't want anything. Let me just build my thing. Then the second level, sasa, it's called manifestation. Sasa.
Yes.
So manifestation, umse ana show up kwa palace mbele ya king for the second time. That's where actually Goliath is. Ana show up kwa palace for the second time. And the king asked him for the second time, what's your name? Na ukumbuke mara ya kwanza ameshow up mbele ya king amecheza hapa. Meaning kuna level unaweza sema jina yako, wase waseme okay. Kuna level utasema sa jina yako na waseme we now want to know your name.
Yes.
And then they asked him, whose son are you? And when you ask whose son are you, inakuanga either umefanya kitu mbaya ama mzuri.
Yes.
So aliulizwa whose son are you? Na hii level alishow up mbele ya king na track record.
Okay.
That I've killed the bear, I've killed the lion.
Yes.
So this time now he came with evidence. So when you show up in the second stage, you now come with the evidence. You don't come with the story.
You're already
because
prepared.
Exactly, you are now
Yes.
prepared. Now it's evidence. You just show up with the results, you know.
Okay.
And I feel like that's the stage now I'm getting into.
Okay.
All this has been preparation. But the second stage is a stage where now you come and say, you know what, I've been doing this and now I'm good at this.
Okay.
Yes, now that's the stage of closing your niche. Then there is the third level of now elevation. Elevation now is a place where you are awarded for all these things you've been doing. Now that's a stage of raising people.
Okay.
That's now not a stage of yourself.
Yes.
There's a high peak of success that people hit. And that high peak of success, it's a place of holding people. Jutaboeka. You'll have money, you'll have buildings, you'll have everything. But there's no one you've held. But at that level, what now gives your heart happiness is now seeing other people rise.
Okay.
So that's a stage now of holding people. So now I just underwent that thought, na nikakaa chini, nika meditate, then I wrote now this.
Okay.
Those three stages of life, those seasons.
Okay. We have a couple of questions here
Yes.
for you. Mwikali, we can get a bit of his early, can we get a bit of his early life stages? That what sets his foundation, and I believe more has been drawn from the early life. So I think the question here is, what was your early
My childhood.
childhood? Yeah, what was it like?
My childhood was powerful, Maze. I just admire my childhood. First, I was born in Western, in a place called Bungoma.
BG.
Bungoma County, Maze. So my shosh was a pastor,
Okay.
Pastor Lois. Both of my shoshos were pastors.
Okay.
And my grandfather used to work in the judiciary.
Okay.
Now, when I grew up in that place, I was a very dramatic child, vituko tu, you know, kukimbia kwa mvua, vitu kama hizo, kuchapwa. And my mom was a teacher. At that time, my dad was a cop. And all of them were disciplinarians. My sister was also a deputy parent. She's called Sharon, our firstborn. And you know, I'm the last born and the only boy.
Yes.
So yeah, alikuwa deputy parent kivyake, and I need discipline. And so now, there are so many things I used to observe in my environment. My mom is very talkative. Akokaa mimi, yeye upiga story. So most of the time atapigiwa say story. So that nature was also a part of me in school. So now nikienda shule ndapigiwa say story, and I loved current affairs. My dad always made sure that there are newspapers in the house.
Okay.
So I knew all the ministers in the government. By the time I was in class 3, I would mention all of them, the AG, the United Nations officials and such. I loved just information. And then we later relocated now to Nairobi. So life was a bit hard transiting juu tulikuja naye sikuwa najua vitu most. Then I went to St. Scholastica's primary, and the first day they asked me kwenyu ni wapi, basi ikipeleka wase home, nikasema kwetu ni Nairobi. Juu mimi kwa najua tuko Nairobi. You guys were laughing at me and I don't know why they
Did
were
I
laughing.
just do that as well?
So I don't know why you guys were laughing. Then I enrolled for taekwondo classes. So wase wakinicheka mimi nilikuwa nawachapa tu. Nawachapa mazee. So most of the time I will always be in trouble. Mara umechapana, mara noise making, just in trouble. And then I was also not very good at assignments.
Okay.
But the good thing is that anytime nilikuwa na show up class, teacher akiulizia assignments, na anaanza kumpigia story. Naambia teacher uliona Monday hii ni ya politics. So anafurahi, anasawadi story assignment sasa. So it was a tactic that I survived with throughout even my primary and high school. High school mimi sikuwa na notes. Lakini mmoja akikuja hivi naanza kumpigia story akiwa hapo. So by the time anafika, anasema wewe Benihin, anaenda anaangalia mwingine sasa. So like I just loved stories, you know. Then now a part of my childhood now in class 8, class 7, my mom started taking me at the library. Na nikienda library sikuwa nasoma books zenye nafaa kusoma, course book. Mimi nilikuwa naenda nasoma books za Mandela, Malcolm X, but sikuwa namaliza. Nenda naangalia picha for a very long time. So I used to go with the scissors, nakata hizo picha.
Hizo ni vitabu za library.
Nilikuwa nakata hizo picha naenda nazo to home. So I had the pictures of Malcolm X, Muhammad Ali. There's a powerful quote I read by Muhammad Ali. It says, "Service is the rent you pay here on earth for your room in heaven."
Oh.
So I used to put those 2 pages, those to ninis. And now, then later on, we could go to church. I grew up in church, cleaning up the church, Nairobi Grace Chapel. My spiritual father called Pastor Martin. So I could just go to church, to Kiswip Church, nini. So I would ask for opportunities in church to give speeches. Like 3 minutes, 4 minutes, so I will be given. And you see, our church had like 600 people. And at that time, it was a powerful thing, maze, as a child, sana kupigia makofi. And I would just speak about random dreams. You know, I want to be a president. Wasa napiga makofi. And those claps would inspire me. Like next Sunday, I'll prepare a speech again. I'll go read Miles Monroe. Niseme ndaanza na hii quote. Nikishasema hii quote, ndasema hii story. Then nikishasema hii story, ndafunga tena na hii quote. Alafu niwape story yangu moja na nikae chini. Then guys are clapping. So that influenced my childhood. So now I would sit back, listen to speeches. Then when I go back to school, I was now appointed prefect.
Okay.
As a way of controlling me not to make noise.
Did it work?
Yes, it worked.
Okay.
Sasa ukiwa class prefect, ukipigiwa say story, wewe ndo tuambia bado keep quiet. So uta control. So I had to do group discussions because I just want to make noise, you know. Then now what influenced my life, there's a time I went to JKIA and Joho was passing. You were taking my mom to go do something outside the country. Then Joho and Alikiba were passing by. I was with my sister and with the friend of mine called Tobias. So as Joho was passing, beshte yangu akasema ndio huyo Alikiba, yeye alinotice Alikiba, mimi nilinotice Joho. So nikasema mimi naenda kumsalimia. Then my sister akasema sasa we nawe usiende, unajuaje security watakusukuma, usiende. Then me I went. And I said, "Hi Joho, my name is Walubengo. I've watched you on TV. I don't want to take your number. I will be president one day and I will work with you. So just shika tu jina yangu." Then I went. Then I went to church and said that story. So from that time onwards, something burned in my heart.
Yes.
That you should never stop. If you see something, you just do it.
Do it.
Yeah, just do it.
Oh my God. And I'm being told we have like a minute to go. And I have a question here. What is the range of price for publishing a book?
Well, it depends with how many copies you want.
Okay.
Like for around 800 copies inaweza cost kitu ka 70k hapo hivyo. And also it depends with the quality, historiographic, so it depends. But if you have something like 40k, why anzi hadi na 30 copies?
Okay.
This thing, wasi exaggerate, begin from somewhere. That's the only thing.
Just
people
start.
will give you a chance to start from somewhere. Like my publisher gave me a chance to start from somewhere.
Okay.
Yeah. You ende mtu mataku. Usiende wase wa bigi ati watu wenye washa invest. Anzia mse mwenye ameanza, jue pia unaanza. Grow na yeye.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hi Mwikali, it's Emmy Ambitious. I am 19 years and I believe I can write too because I once wrote a book about lost love, but sikumaliza. What would one do to refresh the urge to write?
You have
in
3
like
things.
30 seconds.
You have 3 things. A book needs a pen, it needs a story, it needs your mind. You have those 3 things. Write it.
Recharge, restart. Hi Mwikali, I'm also talented in writing, but I have no one to work with. Can you hook me up with him?
Yeah, sure, no problem.
How can they get in touch with you?
07
Did you say communication?
07 75 976 643. That's my number. 0775 976 643.
Okay, SMS ya mwisho. Wow, I'm Malaika from West Pokot and I'm a poet. I love the way Full Circle is. Uyo boy amenijenga sana. Big
books.
up. Tunapatiana vitabu. Tunapatiana vitabu mbili. And I will let you know after this very short commercial break how you can get a book. He particular one. Ya Benihin. Sawa sawa. After this break, let's pay our bills. We'll be right back.